Hello and welcome to Notebook. Our today's lesson is on the chapter Power Sharing. To begin with, let's have a look at our respective families.
We all have elders back home, mostly parents and grandparents. If you have noticed carefully that each one of our elders have authority and responsibility distributed amongst themselves in order to run our household.
Have you ever wondered why? Let's understand the answer through this chapter.
In our previous classes, we have learned the three organs of the government, namely the legislature, executive and judiciary. The equal, balanced and intelligent distribution of democratic powers amongst the three organs of the government is termed as power sharing. It is an integral part of the functioning of a democracy.
Let's go to a small country of Western Europe, Belgium. Do you know the capital of Belgium?
The population structure of Belgium is quite complex. Of the total population, 59% lives in the Flemish regions and speak Dutch. The rest 40% lives in Wallonia region and speaks French. The remaining 1% of the Belgians speak German. In Brussels, the beautiful capital of Belgium, 20% of the people speaks Dutch while the majority speaks French. So from this you can clearly understand that the Dutch speaking population had been a majority in the country while the French speaking population was a majority in Brussels.
This inconsistency in the population led to a conflict between the Dutch and the French speaking groups during the 1950s and 1960s.
Also, the French-speaking community used to be more wealthy and powerful as compared to their Dutch-speaking countrymen. This socio-economic difference enhanced the problems. These tensions were more acute in Brussels as there was a huge cultural and regional gap between these two sets of people. The Belgian leaders amended their constitution 4 times between 1970 and 1993 to reach a point such that everyone could live happily in the country without any squabbles.
So let's figure out some of the salient features of the Belgian model.
The constitution prescribed that there should be an equal number of Dutch and French-speaking ministers in the central government. It also suggested that any special law required the approval of both the linguistic groups. The state government was assigned with most of the powers of the central government, which meant that the state government was not subordinate to the central government. The city of Brussels has an unique government to itself with equal representation from the Dutch and French communities. Apart from the central and the state, a third type of government called the community government also existed. This government consisted of people belonging to different linguistic communities. This community government had powers to control the cultural, educational and linguistic aspects.
Though complicated, the Belgian model managed to avoid a civil war and partition between the two major communities and still stands out in history.
From Belgium, let us now go to one of our neighboring countries, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has a diverse population of about 2 crore people with 74% Sinhalese and 18% Tamils. The natives of Sri Lanka are called the Sri Lankan Tamils, which consist of 13% of the population. The other 5% consist of Indian Tamils whose forefathers migrated from India during the colonial rule. Post Sri Lanka's independence in 1948, the leaders of the Sinhala community, who were mostly Buddhists, established their supremacy over the others due to their majority. They adopted a number of majoritarian measures to emphasize their supremacy. They ruled the country according to their own wish, disregarding the needs of the minority. An act was passed in 1956 to recognize Sinhala as the only official language. The government also devised rules to help the Sinhalese to secure jobs and admissions in government offices and universities. A new constitution specified that the state should protect and promote Buddhism. Over time, all these measures strained the relations between the Tamil and the Sinhalese communities. The Sri Lankan Tamils formed parties and organized protests to get Tamil recognized as an official language. They also demanded equality of opportunities and regional autonomy. By 1980s, many political organizations like the LTTE were formed demanding an independent state. This mistrust led to